You can run across somebody overdosing anywhere, especially these days. From the stories I've been getting from all the feedback from parents that I get, people run across it in parks, they run across it while they're on their walks, they run across it in their front yard, in their backyard, in their shed. You can run across someone overdosing anywhere.
Steve Borisenko lost his 21-year-old son Jacob this past June to an overdose. He says the pandemic and lockdown hit his son hard, who started to self-medicate with street drugs. Unfortunately, Jacob is not alone. Both Niagara and Hamilton saw a big increase in August when it comes to overdoses. Hamilton EMS responded to 103 suspected opioid overdoses and Niagara 130, a steady increase from the previous months. While drug addiction and overdoses do not discriminate, paramedics say marginalized people are at a higher risk.
Things like access to basic necessities of life, income, employment, housing, food security. And what we saw is that by far, the individuals who are overdosing are also struggling with those other, what you might call more social type issues. So yes, it does cut across all segments of society, but I think the data is showing that those who are already struggling with those other issues are disproportionately affected by overdoses as well.
People who are prone to addiction do far worse in isolation, according to Dr. Clement's son.
There's certain factors that make patients worse, and there's certain things that make them better. And a few of the things that make them worse, which we predicted COVID would happen, is if they're in isolation, they're bored, they're going to use more drugs. If the supply is lower, they're going to buy any drugs out there, including the ones that are more dangerous.
Due to the pandemic, there may have been limited access to drugs, leading to potentially lethal situations.
And with COVID, the border was shut down and the supply of heroin was cut off completely. So within Canada, it isn't just Hamilton, everywhere was short on street drugs for a time period. So they were buying anything they can, and the dealers, some of them, as you know, are not very ethical. They ran out of supply. So guess what they did? They grabbed anything, threw it in there, and sold it as something less dangerous. And in fact, what became more available recently is fentanyl.
Stephen's message to our politicians during this election period?
We need government to back us, and we need government to listen to ideas, and we need support, and the police need funding to fight this stuff.
And Jacob's father, Stephen, who you just saw right there, has now started a task force. He's working with the mayor of St. Catharines, Niagara Police, and EMS, and their goal is to help people who are suffering from addictions.